What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the former classic physique star, Bryan Jones. The man who was just too big for classic, but still he had the guts to place top 5 in the world at his Olympia debut. And that was 5 years ago. So where is Bryan Jones now? And will his men's open bodybuilding debut ever happen? Well, I was going through some of his training updates, and he is always going so hard in the gym. And when Bryan announced that he will no longer be competing in classic physique, that was back in 2021 and the Olympia that year. That was his last show. And initially his plan, that was to take a full year off, put on some muscle, put on some meat in all the right areas, especially in his lower body, and return to the stage sometime in 2023 and make his men's open debut to see how he compares with the big boys. But for whatever reason, that just did not happen, and I won't be surprised at all if he never competes again. Because there has been just too much gap. He took just too much time off from the stage, from competing. Now some of the awesome physique updates that Bryan posted previously, they were really impressive, and it seemed like he did put on quite some muscle and a lot of mass on his physique during that entire growth phase, and he was able to keep his small waistline in check. That was tight during all this time, but he just never dieted down again. Now he was really good in classic physique, and one of the reasons was his height and his overall aesthetics. But the men's open class, that is just so damn hard and just so tough, especially if you are above 6 feet tall and you do not have the genetics of Samson Lauda or Andrew Jacked. Because filling up a frame which is that big, that just requires so much dedication and so much hard work. This has to be the best picture of the 2 times classic physique Olympia champion Brion Asley in terms of the tie-ins and the completeness of the back. So Brion's back, especially his back double biceps, that is gonna be among the best of the best in the entire classic physique division history. And you have got to give the credit to his trainer Chris Cormier as well, because Brion was already an older guy when he made his classic physique debut back in 2016, and from there onwards, he was able to make such improvements. He continued to show up better and better with every passing year and fight those guys who are just way younger than him and still place top 5 in the world 9 years later. That, I have got to say, is an incredible career and something to be very proud of. Now what's even more exciting regarding Brion is that, and that is sort of an assumption at this point, that Brion might make the announcement that he will no longer be competing in classic physique division. Because the thing is, the man is just always spot on in terms of his physique that he presents on the Olympia stage or any other stage for that matter. He is always 100% on, and his physique just won't change in classic physique, especially when he has to come down every single time to make that weight cutoff. But if he transitions into the 212 division, the fans will be excited to see something new from him and what he can do in a bigger division. Now, can he grow his quads in his 40s? Well, it's not exactly possible for most of the guys. So 212 is gonna be as difficult, if not more, as it was for him in classic physique. Because those guys in the 212 class, they are packed with muscles on top of muscles, and they're just so damn big. So this of course is gonna be a difficult decision for him. But surely he just wasn't happy with that 5th place finish at the Olympia this year. And if all of these young guys, they continue to improve at such a fast pace, Brion might go down in placings even further in classic. But that being said, Brion is gonna have to be a lot bigger, especially in the legs department, to be competitive in the 212. Because those guys in the top 5 in the 212, they are just too massive. Next up, we have a 9 weeks out physique update from Mike Sommerfeld. So the man just looks way too good for this far out of this upcoming Arnold. And people can call him a bodybuilder or that he doesn't look classic or whatever. But he is just so dense and so thick with 0 missing body parts that if he brings that same condition at this upcoming Arnold as he did at the Olympia this year, it is so unimaginable how anyone in this upcoming Arnold lineup can touch him. Now people had this argument about the late George Peterson back in the day when he was competing in classic, especially when he was able to beat one of the best classic physique pros to have ever stepped on the stage, Steve Laureus, at the Arnold. But George Peterson was just way too muscular for a guy like Steve Laureus. So Mike, on the other hand, he has an incredible V-taper and great aesthetics as well, and he executes all the poses extremely well. So the sooner people accept that Chris Bumstead will no longer be returning, and Mike solidified himself as the biggest contender for the Classic Physique Olympia title next year. The battle it will be, and not just for the fans, for the competition as well. So I wonder how Classic Physique division is gonna change with no C-Bum in the Olympia lineup next year. So time will tell whether it was a peaking issue that made Jeremy place 8th in the world 2 years ago at the Olympia on his comeback, because he was shooting for a much higher spot. Now I have got to say, if anyone was thinking that Jeremy can take 4 years off, come back and win the biggest men's physique title in the world, then that's nothing but being very delusional. But Jeremy did look very impressive, extremely good, going into that Olympia during that Olympia prep. Now fast forward to 2024, where he had a few injuries that hindered him from competing at all. But right now the man looks all pumped up and ready to have another go. And this will most definitely be his last year as a competitive men's physique pro. Whatever show he does next, that is gonna be his last one. Now you have got to give it to him. He ain't doing the Arnold in 9 weeks, but that off-season size and conditioning looks very good. Now will he be able to compete against the top guys of today? Well, maybe not, because the division just has evolved so much. And the top 2 right now in the men's physique, Ryan Terry and Ali Heath, they just have incredible set of abs. And Jeremy's midsection, that was never his strong point. Now he is qualified for the Olympia for life, so he can make this decision of retiring on the biggest bodybuilding stage in the world. Now he will go down as the GOAT of men's physique division for sure. No matter where he places at his last show, that isn't gonna change. Next up, we have the physique update from the reigning Masters Olympia champion, Kamal. So the Masters Olympia is gonna be returning next year, and so will Kamal. And based on what we saw from him at his last show, last year at Masters Olympia, where he just blew the whole competition out of the water, if he can duplicate that, he might win the second one for sure. Now Kamal has been competing as a pro for more than 2 decades now. He just turned 53. And there is no better looking 52 years old in the world right now than Kamal. Now there is something that has to be mentioned about Kamal's training style that kept him injury free all those years and all this time. And that is, Kamal has always done that high volume workout. Now the biggest change that we have seen in his physique over the past couple of years, that of course is his waistline. That just isn't the same anymore as it was in his prime when he won the Olympia. Now a lot of people might have forgotten this, but he was able to beat Derek Lunsford that year, as well as Sean Carida, and he was able to come in even better next year. But Sean Carida was just so damn good that year, and Sean was able to dethrone him. So really looking forward to Kamal returning to the stage. So this is another great career that might come to an end in the near future, maybe as early as next year. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.